Okay, in this video tutorial we're going to look at creating a physical sun and sky for this scene, and we're also going to be looking at adding color management to this and a bit of exposure on the lens as well. So let's start. So if we just do a quick render of this, we've got no lighting there at all, really flat. So what we're going to do is we're going to start adding the lights. So I'm just going to go into the settings. Let's go and switch on mental ray. Need to have mental ray switched on. If mental ray is not showing, you may need to go to settings and preferences, go into your plugin manager and just check down here that my item mental ray is loaded. Okay, so let's also, while we're in the common tab, just go into the render options and switch off enable default lighting, and then we can go into scene and we can go into the physical sun and sky and create. So again, we'll just take a quick render of this. Okay, so you can see we have lights on there, but right now they're really blown out, really overexposed. So we need to deal with that. What I'll do is I'll just take a copy of this for reference, and we're going to go in and first switch on color management. So this is Maya 2016. If we just go into the render settings again, this is where it used to be in the common tab, and still is, but you can see this is grayed out. So we need to switch this on. Just go to Windows, Settings and Preferences, and go into the preferences themselves. And let's find the color management, and we're going to enable color management. I'm going to leave this as at its default. So we're going from a default rendering space of screen linear 709 sRGB, and we're going to use a view transform of sRGB gamma. Okay, save this. So you see we haven't got the blown out areas on the face anymore around here. We're getting the colors on the texture much better on that, because this is an actual texture that was blowing out. So that's looking much better now on there. But the scene overall is still a little washed out. You see, if we just bring the exposure down, this is kind of more what we're wanting, a lot more like that. So again, let's just save this, or create a reference of this. Okay. And what I'm going to do is actually go in and set an exposure on the camera. So this is our render camera right now, so I'm just going to go into click on this button over here for the camera settings. You can also have that by actually selecting the camera. You can get into the attribute editor and see that. And mine's already open. If you just find the mental ray tab and click on the input next to the lens shader. So if I go down to the mental ray nodes, go into the lenses, and we have a couple we can use here. The MA exposure photographic is quite a nice one. You're going to get really involved with the camera. So here you have control over the f-stop, the exposure, the ISO, everything you would imagine, everything that would be on an actual camera. For this, I'm just going to use the Maya exposure simple, and I'm just going to set the exposure to 1. And do another render. Okay, so you can see what it's doing. It's just getting rid of some of the highlights. It probably will be a little darker than this when we actually do the renders of it. Be much more vibrant colours, just so you can kind of see. Okay, we're not getting those hot spots in the face. More of a flatter colour on there. Okay. So let's just set this up for a render. I'm just going to go into the settings again, into the common. Just go right click, let's insert the scene name. I'm going to save this as a TGA. I am going to do a named extension to hash. So we have the, actually I'll do a name.number.extension. And just for the frame, I'm just going to render out one frame. So I'm going to do 40. I'm going to have my end frame as 40 as well. Just making sure my renderable camera is the camera I want to use. And I'm just using the default setting just for speed. So with that done, just make sure I'm in the rendering module, and let's go into render and just do a quick batch render on this. Okay, and this is what came out from that render. So you can see the colors are much more vibrant in this now. Just a few things. If we wanted to if we did have a scene like this and it was outside, it wouldn't matter if it was inside. We could take this horizon down. Let's just go back into Maya. So this is in no way a tutorial on sun and sky, but there's just a couple of things we could do. I'm just going to take the horizon height down. Now I've played around with this, so I know this is minus 1.2 around. I'm just going to add a bit of blur to the horizon as well. I'll just show this on a render actually. So you can you've seen what it looks like in the actual render, so don't worry that this is overly bright. But just to show you now that the horizon line is below actual ground plane. Okay. And if you wanted to, it's a little bit blue. We could also add a bit of color into this. So let's just go into the red blue shift. Let's try 0.2, but that's probably too much. No, it's not too bad actually. You see, this just added a bit of yellow into the scene as well. If you look at the ground on this, really blue, because we're getting the reflection from the blue sky. This is just adding a bit of yellow into the scene as well. Okay. So that was just a quick tutorial on looking at just adding the physical sun and sky and some color management and some exposure issues with the camera. And that's it.